We stand up for the truth. That's what won us the American Revolution. That's what brought us together after the Civil War. That's what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, and certainly not Kamala Harris or Tim Walz is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about, and that is what we are going to revive to save this great country. Thank you all for coming out, guys. God bless you and your families and the great state of North Carolina, and God bless our United States of America. Love it. USA, 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 love it. USA, USA, USA. Some questions. Let me take it. A couple questions before we get out of here, guys. Right here.
You know what? I'm honored to be here.
You get the mic.
I need my sons to come up. They drove from everywhere to be here.
Get on up here, guys. Got a proud mother of her sons. I love that. Give these boys right. How old are you, man? 26. 26? What's your name?
James.
And how old? How 26? Twin. Okay, all right, good. Amazing.
Please go up with them, guys. These are my Citadel babies right here.
Love that. Use the mic. Use the mic.
Twins. My twins.
Thank you, man. Thank you for serving this country. Look at these guys. Good-looking guys up here. I love these. Love these guys. So what are you pumped for, man?
I'm pumped for this election. I'm in the military currently. I'm in the Army. And I definitely don't want to see a World War III. It looked like Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris.
Yep.
Looked like a war potentially constructed. Yeah. So what you think if Trump in office, will he institute peace?
Yeah. Peace begins on January 20th, 2025 when Donald Trump enters the White House again. I'll tell you that. He is the president of peace. And some people may say, I want a Republican as a Secretary of Defense. You want Liz Cheney as your Secretary of Defense? Vote for Kamala Harris, because that's what's coming. Okay. But you said you're 26 years old?
Yes, sir.
You're serving this country?
Yes, sir.
You made a decision to put your life on the line, and we have a responsibility to you. To say that, God forbid, we're putting our sons and daughters' lives in the way it is going to be to protect the interests of this country in our own homeland, not any other one. That's not controversial. That's what we owe you and your next generation, because this man's 26, but most people his age aren't signing up to serve in the military. We have a 25% recruitment deficit, as you well know, in the military, because less than 16% of Gen Z says they're even proud to be American. And so we owe it to you to make sure we do what's right, because it's going to be the national debt. It's not even going to fall on my shoulders or the shoulders of many other people in this room. It's going to fall on your shoulders. It's going to be somebody else's gun over your shoulders. Better darn well be to protect this country, to protect our own borders, and to make sure Americans here at home are safe and prosperous. And you have my word that you send Donald Trump to the White House, that's exactly what you're going to get in your commander-in-chief. And you deserve it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You must be proud.
I'm so proud.
A proud mother of a good serving young man.
Let me tell you, I have many strong black babies.
I can see they're strong. You know, that's good. That's good.
They are conservative, though. That's most important to me.
Beautiful.
That they understand. This is strong black, new red.
I love that. I love that.
This is black, masculine, with conservative values.
I love that. I love that. Ali, get up here.
That Abdul, this is a twin. These two are twins. Powerhouses. We're going to work together to support Abdul. It's going to be a hard fight because Miss Alma, which I respect because she's an elder black sister. At the end of the day, the South respects their elders. First and foremost, we may not agree, but we honor white, black, and in between in the South. So I just want you to know you have made a difference. This will be my first year voting all Republican.
Thank you. Music to my ears. Beautiful. Thank you.
And the last thing I'll say, especially to you, I've been a Robert Kennedy fan for as long as I can remember.
He's a good man.
He is. Yeah. And Tulsi was exceptional too last week.
She was good.
I need y'all, it's one group you haven't reached out to. Mm-hmm. That is the Black rural farmer.
Okay.
I need you to reach out. I have brothers and sisters in Renfrew, South Carolina, under Jim Clyburn's. We got to do something different. I need you and President Trump to reach out to my sister and brother.
Sure.
They're in their 70s now and holding on to their farms.
Beautiful.
They do not vote for either side anymore because they are always looked over.
That's right.
I need you to reach out to them. That's the only other thing.
You have my word, all right? We're gonna. I promise you that. I promise you that. You accomplished your mission today. And I think you want to see the face of America First is standing right here on the stage right now, right? This is a multi-ethnic working class coalition. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're black or white, man or woman.
That's right.
If you're an American, America First includes all Americans, all right? That's what we got to. That's what actually we got to revive. So you tell me.
I got a question for you.
Sure. We'll go while we get our picture, and then we'll take some couple more questions.
I got a question for you.
Sure, Ali.
With what's happening with our economy, what does President Trump do day one to bring down the cost of food, fuel, and housing for everybody?
So increase the supply of everything. All right. This is actually really easy one. Drill, baby, drill. Frack, baby, frack. All right. It's going to be both of those things. Oil, natural gas, coal, nuclear, all of the above. Any form of American energy, bring down energy costs by flooding the supply. Housing, same story. You got all kinds of restrictions on new home construction. Bring the housing costs down, increase the supply, get rid of all of those restraints. Same thing with respect to everything where we've constrained the production with the regulatory state. And this is the problem. Most of these regulations coming out of Washington, D.C., they were never even passed by Congress, actually. They're unconstitutional. So you want to get serious about draining the swamp. Most of those regulations, you don't need 75% of them. If you don't need 75% of those regulations, most of them are unconstitutional today. Then you don't need 75% of the staff sitting around as dead weight in Washington, D.C., collecting their paychecks either. And that's how we get the job done, Ali. I
Anybody
appreciate
else
it.
have a question? Question up front.
Thank you.
You have a new movie vindicating.
Thank you for
Trump,
knowing it.
Right?
Well, mine was about child trafficking was the one that we worked on. But there's also another. Yeah. But there's a couple of them. A couple good movies out there now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask how it's doing, how your new one.
Sure. No, doing well. I'll tell you about the one that I was involved in. So my background is I'm a biotech entrepreneur, and then I started an asset management firm to compete with BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard, who were pushing the ESG nonsense. Well, we offered something that said we should not push social values with other people's money, all right? So that was my background as an entrepreneur. But I've never made a movie before. So after I stepped down from the presidential campaign, I became an executive producer on a movie called City of Dreams this year. And it's thank you. For those, have you seen it yet? Thank you. It's a story of a young boy who was trafficked from Puebla, Mexico to Los Angeles on false pretenses. They told him he was going to be part of a soccer camp. He wasn't. They put him into forced labor, taken over by the cartels across the border because of the failed border crisis. This should not be a political point. And the left tries to sell us this myth. And the reason I participated, played my own role in at least helping bring this to market, was the left tries to own the monopoly on compassion. That somehow we're not compassionate because there's people who are suffering who we're not letting in. No. The story of this young boy and what happened to him, that is not compassion, that is cruelty. And people needed to see that outside of the realm of politics. In this particular case, this boy fought back. And the story, nobody, I don't care if you're even a Democrat, you're not going to watch this movie and say, you know what, securing the border is not just a national priority to protect our security, which it is. And I won't apologize for that. But it is also the way to fix the single greatest humanitarian sin we're committing on our own homeland, which is 300,000 of those kids that are lost today. That's unconscionable. I'm a father of 2 sons myself. One of them's 4, one of them's 2. And we have a responsibility to our kids and their generation to make sure that we don't let this continue any longer. That's why we made the movie. Thank you, Matt. City of Dreams is the movie. So check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, thank you.
We've got one more question
Sure.
for you over here.
Hey, how's it going, sir? First of all, I want to say thank you for coming. Benny, good to see you over there.
My boy Benny Johnson.
Baby, I love it. We're not the garbage. We're taking out the garbage in Washington.
I love that.
Those policies are trash. parents. This is a party of mothers and fathers. This is a party of people that want to dig their feet into the beautiful dark dirt of this country and say, this is our nation. We're not giving it up to you dirty globalists or corporatists. We are going to fight for this place, and we're going to win, baby.
Amen. I love it. Yeah. Sure.
I personally feel with every part of my being that this election's not going to be close. And I was the one in the back that shouted this election's going to be over on election night.
Oh, that was you. Good.
Yeah.
Should be.
But bigger than that is the movement that this has the opportunity to provide in generations to come. For instance, it's great that President Trump's going to have another 4 years, but we need that margin in the Senate and the House. But it also doesn't do us any good if in 4 years from now we have another Democrat in the White House.
Sure.
As you know, since 2008, we've had 12 years of Democrat run, right, of rule, right? So it doesn't do us any good if this movement extinguishes after Trump. My question is, how do we do two things? One involves you, and the next thing is kind of brainstorming how we're, terraforming states to no longer become swing states. In 2020, Ohio was considered a swing state, no longer the case. Iowa was a swing state, no longer the case. Benny Johnson in Florida, no longer a swing state. How do we go down this path of changing and terraform states like North Carolina, Nevada, Arizona to be permanent red states in the future? And then also the second part, that's the first question. The second question is really tearing down this movement, any movement like it, is all the agencies that are based out of Washington, D.C. Is there any way that we can get those agencies that declare residency to have their headquarters somewhere outside of the place, outside of D.C.? D.C. is where all the issues come from every part of this nation, but yet that's where all the headquarters.
What's your name, man?
Jeremy.
Jeremy, I love that question. Smart young man. How old are you?
28.
28. I appreciate it, man. Well, first of all, I'll tell you, I think you're going to be part of the generation that saves this country. Yes. All right? I really believe that, truly. I think you're going to be part of the generation that saves this country. You are already. And what it's going to take is, what used to be is something about being in your 20s that makes you want to be a rebel, right? To stand up, to stick it to the man. That's where a lot of the garbage, the woke nonsense, the climate change nonsense, that's where it came from in the first place. They thought they were sticking it to the system. Well, what began as a challenge to the system has now become the new system. So today you want to be a rebel? You want to be countercultural? You want to stick it to the man? Try showing up on a college campus or at work and call yourself a conservative, right? Say you want to get married. Benny and I talk about this all the time, right? We're both parents and proud of it. My best advice to every young man is say you want to find a woman you love, get married, have kids, stay married, raise them, teach them to believe in God and pledge allegiance to that flag without apologizing for it. People are hungry for purpose. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves, and yet right now people can't even answer what it means to be an American. So part of this is filling that vacuum with the real thing instead of the fake cults of transgenderism or climatism or COVIDism or whatever, the real thing. If you don't pledge allegiance to that flag, you're going to pledge allegiance to a different one instead. And so part of how we do this in a lasting way in those states, because your question isn't about next year, it's about the next 10 years. I think we've got to revive civic education in our schools, replace the DEI agenda with the love of country. I'll tell you something. Every immigrant who becomes a citizen, the same test that every legal immigrant has to pass in order to become a full citizen, I think every high school senior should be able to pass that test too. I don't think that's too much to ask, to know something about your country, to actually have skin in the game, and then go the further distance of serving your country is a beautiful thing on top of that. And the question about the deep state, because this is an important part of this, is, so there's going to be temptation we face. I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win big. You guys ready for that? Yeah! I don't think it's going to be super close. But you got to vote. Got to vote now. And I, as much as you don't like early voting, suck it up, get the job done, and drag as many people out as you can legally to do this and get it done this time, so you can change the rules to what it should be. Okay, you got to win by the rules you have to change them to what they should be. But after that, we win big, as our friend President Trump says, win bigly. Okay. After that, I will warn you all, we're going to face a temptation. The temptation we will face is to say, okay, now we got control of the left-wing bureaucracy. We want to turn that left-wing nanny state into a right-wing nanny state. We want to take the left-wing regulatory state and turn it into a conservative regulatory state. No. The right answer is to get in there in 3 words: shut it down. That's how you save a country. All right? And I'm going to give you some truth on this. Speak some hard truth on this. You're always taking a risk. I'm not telling you it's going to be all roses at every step of the way. It's a honky-dory at every step. You want to shut down the Department of Education and send $80 billion back to the states and to the people? I do. But there's going to be some bumps on the road. I'll be the first to tell you that. But we can do it. You can make that short-term sacrifice if you know what you're sacrificing for. You're always taking a risk. Not going to tell you I know exactly what the perfect amount is for us to cut. There's no such thing as knowing that in advance. One risk is you don't cut enough fat. You cut one head of an 8-headed hydra, it grows right back. The other risk you take is you cut so much that you also risk cutting some muscle. That's always a risk. That's the risk I'm willing to take. That's the risk Donald Trump is willing to take. That's the risk my friend Elon Musk is willing to take, all right? So we got to get in there and do the hard thing. So once we win and win big, the next step is don't try to beat the left by becoming the left. We're going to beat the left by being who we are as conservatives and, as more importantly, as Americans. Shut that down. Make our founding fathers proud with 3 branches of government again, a government that's accountable to the people rather than the other way around. I think most states in the country, across the board, maybe even California, by that point actually have core red values at the heart of it. We just got to actually help them rediscover that and revive it. And for someone on stage with me voting Republican up and down the ballot for the first time, I can tell you it's happening already. So I appreciate it. Thank you, man. 2 more questions. Right there, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming out here. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that.
I love it here. You guys are great.
We love it. We love you.
Love the end. Round of applause for the people outside, too, all right? Love you guys. I love that. Thank you guys for sticking it out. Look at that.
Wait, first thing, can I shake your hand, by the way?
Yes, brother.
Okay,
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
I just have a question.
And Trump Force captain right here, too, right?
Sir,
Yes,
sir.
Hat. It's good. A lot of you. It's good.
That means they did a lot of door knocking.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And Donald Trump appreciates it, too, because I'll tell you, he's going to do his part when you send him to the White House. Okay? I promise you, every one of the people you've seen on those stages, myself included, we're going to do our part. But if we're going to save our country, it's not just going to be one man coming from on high from the White House to save us. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. If we're going to be saved, it is going to be because we save ourselves. Every one of you is making that sacrifice, and you got skin in the game to save this country. Our founding fathers did it. I just want to make this point because you guys are doing this. 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence. They made a sacrifice. 12 of them had their homes ransacked and burned to the ground by the British. 9 of them died in the Revolutionary War. 5 of them were captured and tortured by the British until their deaths. 3 of them had their own kids die in the Revolutionary War. They didn't do it for them. They did it for us. So we could be here 250 years later enjoying the blessings of liberty in the greatest nation known to the history of mankind. And I speak for everybody in this room when I say we refuse to be the generation that squanders it. So thank you for doing what you're doing in this room. Keep knocking those doors. Keep banging those phones. Pound this out all the way through the election, and we're going to save a country. And your attitude, my man. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much. So my question is basically this. So we all know Kamala Harris, somebody said Jesus is Lord at her rally. What do you think about the fact that a lot of Christians aren't voting, and if we get them to vote, we'd obviously have a landslide?
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
And Kamala does not seem to think that we belong as, in her rallies, right? So,
That's right. Well, at least it was a rare moment of honesty from her, wasn't it? And there has been an assault on Christianity in this country. I mean, the country was founded on religious freedom. And the myth is that somehow, okay, well, in the name of minority rights, that if you say you're a secular atheist, that you're going to have some sort of Christian majority that's persecuting you. That's not happening in this country. It's the opposite. Actually, for the last 20 years, the better part of it, you say you're a religious person, particularly a Christian, you're actually going to have to hide your own faith, be forced to do things that violate your own faith by the government. That's not America. And so she has done us the favor of making clear where she is on that. Right? Somebody says something praiseworthy of Jesus Christ. She says, you're at the wrong rally. The truth is, he probably was at the wrong rally, actually. Right? So as they like to say, when she says it, believe her. Okay? But the truth is, the country was founded on, they put it in the First Amendment for a reason. Religious liberty is in the First Amendment for a reason. Without that, we don't have a country. Okay? And so send that message to Kamala Harris. They don't understand. They're against everything in that First Amendment. They're against freedom of speech, they're against freedom of the press, and they're against freedom of religion. Well, you know what? Today, it didn't used to be a conservative value, but I guess today it is. We actually believe in the Constitution. We actually believe in the First Amendment, and the best way we're going to send that message is get her the heck out of the White House. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, one more.
All right, we got one more. Who's got one more? Brother with the hat right there. Pass that mic back.
Thank you for being here. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
brother.
it. I like you a whole lot. I voted for Ron Paul twice, so I like the libertarian mindset.
Thank you, brother.
The government being out of our business. But I guess my question is, so like he said, the young 28-year-old about things that last longer than a president. So you could have like the best president, but if another administration comes in there and changes it, that's not good. So basically, in my opinion, one of the best things President Trump did is he put in several people in the Supreme Court that are going to
Yes.
be there longer than he is. So that was great. What's the chances of, if we get a Republican House and Senate and the White House, that we could pass a balanced budget amendment, something that would last long? I know you got to have like a 2/3.
No, I like the idea of lasting change. That's big, and the Supreme Court's a great example of that. I mean, that was an extraordinary achievement for President Trump, because that then paved the way. It's funny how these things work. It paved the way for his second term. Right? So what he did with the current Supreme Court, they overturned what's called Chevron deference. They overturned, there was West Virginia versus EPA was this famous case that said, if Congress didn't write it into law and it's a major regulation, it's unconstitutional. The current Supreme Court's given us that over the last 2 years. And even for many people from the libertarian right, people like you and me, who had, in the base, might have had criticism, say, why didn't Donald Trump do it in the first term? Well, the answer to that is he didn't have the Supreme Court backdrop that he does now to go in there and get it done this time. So this time's historic, even more than that first term. I do think that, I said this in the Republican debates, and I was running against Donald Trump at the time, but I said I think he was the greatest president of the 21st century. And people said, well, how would you say that? I said, really? Let's just go down the list. You got George Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. Like, those are your four choices. Yes, he was the best. He was by far the best president of the 24th century. It's not even close. But as great as that first term was, I have confidence that second term is going to be far more meaningful by comparison, actually. And the way we're going to drive that lasting change, I believe in truth. Okay, so I'm not going to promise you some balanced budget amendment, even though I would favor such action. I don't think that's what's coming. But I think what is coming is a permanent shutdown of the administrative state, a permanent shutdown of the bureaucracy, a permanent shutdown of the unconstitutional regulations. And I think that we're also going to see judges who respect that in a lasting way and lock that into judicial precedent. And that drives a cultural change in the country, because a lot of the lasting change we need in the country that outlives politics comes from our culture of independence and self-determination. Not that we're reliant on some kind of nanny state to solve every problem we have, but that we believe in ourselves, that each of you has your own God-given gift. It's different from the person sitting next to you, but that's beautiful. That's true human diversity. And you deserve a country where you can achieve the maximum of your God-given potential without any government or system standing in your way. You're not riding some tectonic plate of group identity. You are you, endowed by your Creator with free will to achieve whatever you will with that potential. That's the conviction we need to revive. But you don't have that when you have a government guiding you for every micro step you can and cannot take through unconstitutional regulations that Congress never passed. It has drained the lifeblood out of our country. It's drained the self-confidence out of our soul. And so now we're able to revive. Once you get that regulatory state and that nanny state out of the way, you revive, reinstill that confidence in ourselves as Americans, as people, endowed with those unique skill sets from our Creator. That's actually lasting change. And it's more than we're going to put into any law, even any amendment. I think it's that sense of conviction we need to revive. And so 40 years from now, where do we want to be? I believe Donald Trump is going to make America great again. But 4 years from now, I don't even think we're going to have to say MAGA anymore. We just drop the A. MAGA becomes MAG. Okay, just make America greater. That's what we've always been. It's who we've always been. Make America greater than it's ever been. That's who we've always been since our founding. Right? We're the pioneers. We're the explorers. We're the unafraid, the people who nobody would stop. You know, our founding fathers, didn't tell about these guys? Thomas Jefferson was 33 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. He invented the swivel chair while he was at it, by the way. He spoke 5 languages. He could write 2 more. Nearly bankrupted himself buying books for the United States of America. Benjamin Franklin. He's like the Elon Musk back in the day. He invented the lightning rod, the Franklin stove, the bifocal spectacle. I see a couple of you maybe wearing vestiges of that. He actually also invented an early remedy to the common cold. And I could go straight down the list of these guys. Robert Livingston, he invented the steamship, along with Robert Fulton as a side project while he was an ambassador to France. These are the kinds of guys who signed our Declaration of Independence. there was something in the water back then, right? Maybe it was the wine. Jefferson was a big wine drinker back then. But, you know, exactly, pioneers, people who believe, had that self-confidence, not because there was some government guiding them to do every last thing they did like automatons. What are we today? You know, we celebrate our diversity. What does that even mean? Right, our diversity is meaningless unless there's something greater that unites us across that diversity. Right? Without that, what are we? Just look around. We're a bunch of different looking two-legged higher mammals with a bunch of different shades of melanin. We got 2 genders, great. In this room there's 2 of them, but we're diverse, you know. That's great. So what? Unless there's something greater that unites us. Otherwise, we're just walking around doing what our iPhones tell us to do on a given day. That's not America. America is a vision of what that place can be. And we got to revive that conviction in ourselves, in our families, in our country. And I think it doesn't take a lot to do it. Donald Trump is going to give us that strength as a commander-in-chief that these young men deserve when they're putting their lives on the line serving this country. Give them that sense of confidence and backing. But once we win that confidence back, nothing is going to stop us. And yes, I do believe that America still is that shining city on a hill. I actually do believe that. Not in some fake way. I'm not going to tell you it's morning in America right now. It's not. You know, Leo, our driver, Leo, I'm not going to tell you it's morning in America right now, man. But what I will tell you, and I know prices have been high, I know wages haven't been going up as much as people like you and many in this room would want or need compared to prices that have gone up. You told me about that when we're driving around this town today. So I'm not going to give you some fake optimism and tell you, hey, it's morning in America, Leo, because it's not. Right. But it can be. Right? The American dream is not alive and well right now. It's alive and hanging on for life support, but it can be alive and well again. And so as a movement, once we win on November 5th, and win bigly we will by 9 p.m. that night, that is not the destination. That is the start line, okay? We're not just running from something anymore. We are running to something. Back to what it means to be a citizen of this nation. Not some global citizen vaguely fighting climate change and suffering from depression somewhere, but a citizen of the United States of America, the greatest nation known to the history of mankind. The nation where we will look our kids in the eye. How old are you, young lady? 10? What's your name? Jessa. Beautiful name. 10-year-old here with us. How about that? Jessa, thank you for being here. My son's 4. And kids know when you're lying to them. But we're going to tell them the truth when we say that this is still the country where no matter who you are or where your parents came from or what your skin color is, that you get ahead in the United States of America with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you know what? You are free to speak your mind and your heart at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. And with your help, that is what we get when we send Donald Trump back to the White House and save our country in just 6 days. Thank you all for coming out today, guys. God bless you. And North Carolina and our United States of America. Thank you, guys. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you, brother. Proud of you, man. Thank you. Thank you for serving this country.